Okay, take number 3 with Melanie and Leia coming right up. Let's give it a shot. Guys, I am hoping that we can get Melanie on camera. She just sent me the most hilarious voice memo. So let's see if I can get Melanie on screen with us today. Let me see. Let's try. Third time lucky. Let's give it a go. Take 3, Victoria. Here we go. Here we go. Lindsay, hey. Victoria, hey. Where is our gorgeous Melanie? Let's see. She'll be coming on live any second. I know it. So she just sent me a hilarious voice message. It's not often that I think I hear her swear. But I found Melanie and Leia the very first round of the Impact Academy back in 2017, and I actually joined that round of the Impact Academy. Yes, take number 3. I had only discovered personal development a few months before I found the Impact Academy. It was only like a couple of months before that, and I was going through a massive transition. I came across one of Melanie's live videos, and next minute the Impact Academy was enrolling. And I joined that program. I actually, and I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. I cannot bring her on. There we go. I'm bringing her on. Fully transparent with you guys. I was actually one of the women who left the Impact Academy early. I left it in February. It was supposed to be a year-long program, and it was so hard for me. I was really struggling, and I actually left the program. And it's been a beautiful full circle moment, and I've been back in Melanie's energy since, I think it has been March this year. And it's just been such an incredible experience to have kind of left and evolved myself and then, come back into that energy. So it's been so beautiful. Hello.
Hello. This is the first.
You broke the internet.
I am so sorry I broke the internet.
That's okay. Welcome to the online summit. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too.
I'm so sorry for throwing a spanner in the works. I know you normally go live the other way.
Because then I can look into the camera. Now I don't know where to look. I'm like, we'll figure it out.
You look beautiful. I'm so excited to have you here. I was just sharing about how I came across you and how I was in the very first round of the Impact Academy back in 2017. And full transparency, I was actually one of the women who left that program. And I had to go and do a whole lot of growing. And I've come back into your energy. I think I've been back in your energy since March, maybe?
Yes.
Or April. And
I'm so happy.
Me too. And it's been such a beautiful year. Can you share with us a little bit about your story, about your journey, as to how you got to where you are today? Because I know that there are all the Melanie people here with us, which is fantastic. I don't think you can see the comments, but I will definitely relay them.
Cool.
And you've had such an impact on so many women's lives, especially women in the online space, growing businesses and really, transforming themselves into a full-bodied woman,
Yeah.
A woman who's in full embodiment.
All the things.
All the things. So do you want to take it away?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm just so excited with who I've seen here so far that we're watching the other times we tried to make this work. But Macy and Claire is on here, and Stephanie Schultz is on here. I love you so much. And Ellie was on here. So I just want to thank everybody that's watching. And it's been a crazy journey. And I know a lot of you already know who I am. And I don't want to go through the whole thing of how I got here because, I think we talked about it on the She Waves podcast, if people want to listen to that episode to really get the whole full story of how I got to be where I am. But I think my journey is just a journey of if I can do it, anyone can do it. I really don't believe that there's anything special about me that got me here. I believe I became special when I got here. I believe that I was dealt cards that could have left me having a life that was less than par. I believe that I could have just seen all the issues that arose in my life for face value, and I could have gone with that. And instead, I just decided at some point during my chaos that I was going to tell a story with what was happening to me at the time. I just decided this was going to be a story one day, that it was not the end, that it was just going to be in the past. And that's exactly what it is now. I went through all the things, the breakup, the heartbreak, the living in my car, the going bankrupt, the having no food to eat, all the things that are terrible. Then I went in the invisible coach realm, trying to get clients up and down with that. Then I went into the, meeting people in person, trying to make everybody be my client, whether it was the waitress at the freaking restaurant or anytime I'd speak to a human being, I was like, maybe this could be my client. Like, I was that girl. Then I became the online person and doing the Facebook Lives and trying to get people in my coaching and all that through Facebook Lives, not being seen, not being heard, 3 people liking my post, feeling like this is all for nothing, going through multiple brands, trying to figure out what my thing was. But the thing is, I never stopped. And I was always very transparent with what worked and what didn't work. And I always went back to the drawing board when things didn't work out. And I didn't try to be perfect online. I think the reason I have so many people who love me is they watched me bawl my eyes out on Facebook Live. They watched me celebrate things. Kevin and I were separated for a very long time. We'd see each other once a month or once every 2 months while I was building my business and he still had a job. Kevin opened the Effortless Alphas. Then he met me in Paris. Everybody was rooting for us to be together. And we got engaged. And it was just like everybody's just seen the transition that I've come through, and it just always happened a step at a time. None of it was given. It was all just unpredictable magic, and that's what I hold space for the people in my world. Is if I can do it, anyone can freaking do it. That's just what I believe.
Oh my God. And I think that's so, isn't it so amazing? And all of the women who are here today throwing out all of the Melanie love, it's, they can connect with that. I connect with that. And it really does make it so possible for us to believe that. And the belief forms a really big part of making it happen, right?
Yes, 1,000,000%. We hold the initial energy. The universe, the people, they respond to that. So often we're waiting for the circumstance to align, but that's waiting for the universe to believe in us before we do. It doesn't work like that. So often we wait for the people to show up first before we believe. That's asking for people to believe in us before we do. That's not going to happen. So often, and this is like my prove it concept, you've got to believe without a shadow of a doubt that whatever you're doing is going to work out eventually, because it's in your belief that people find the belief in you. So it all starts with us. And you're going to be thrown curveballs. The universe is like, yeah, you want to be a leader, a real one, a big one, a rich one? Prove it. Handle this, handle that. You're like, why is this happening? I just want to do good in the world. Yeah, you sure? Okay, do this. And the ones who can withstand the storm are the ones who have the biggest impact.
How do we withstand the storm?
You've got to believe it's happening for you. Like, one of my favorite questions is, if this is happening for me, then what should I do about it now? So often storms hit in our life, and the question is, why is this happening to me? And we don't have the answer to that question. As a matter of fact, we only understand why it happened way later down the road, only if we actually did something about it. I speak to people sometimes who are like, how can you explain that this happened to me 20 years ago? Nothing good came of that. And I'm like, nothing good came of it because you chose to make nothing good come of it 20 years down the road. If you look at every single thing that happens to you and say, just humor the universe. What if I've asked for power and leadership? What if I've asked to be one of those people who can move people? What if I've asked for power, for strength, to be one of those people who stands out of the crowd? What if I've asked for that? And humor the universe. This is a prove it moment. What if this is happening for me? So if it is, then how should I deal with this now, knowing that how I deal with it now will impact how I tell the story about the whole thing in a few weeks or months? So that's the question I always ask myself when there's a storm. If this is meant to help me or serve me somehow, then how should I respond to it right now?
And is that a question that we should ask ourselves, like while we are in it, is how do I want to tell this story? Because I've heard you say this quite a few times.
That's how I do everything. And honestly, that's why I have such good stories. Because in the moment where can I say a bad word? Am I allowed? Yeah. In the moment where the shit hits the fan, I'm like, okay, the only way I'm going to get through this with my high heels on and hair in my, the wind in my hair and strutting my way through this awful situation is if I know I'm going to tell the story one day. It's the only way, or else I'm being crushed by the circumstance. But if I can zoom out of the problem and I have the wherewithal to say, just remember, realize for a second, this becomes a story like this fast. It's going to be a story. What's the story? And it's in every moment, you know, because it could so easily be, okay, Shannon quit the Impact Academy. Then I came into her like a ton of bricks. I called her a million names. I lost my ever loving. We fought. We weren't friends anymore. And now what? What's the story? There is none. We're over and I have an enemy on the internet. Or Shannon leaves the program. I'm a little heartbroken, but we both leave beautiful energies behind. Because why do it any other way? Because one day you've got to tell the story, and instead the story comes full circle. And now I'm speaking in her group, and I'm so freaking impressed with her and all the women that she's pulled in and what she's doing in the world and her mission. And it's like, so often we burn bridges, we get mad with people, we cut ties, and then when we go to tell the story, we're disappointed or we're embarrassed with who we've been. So in every little area, even when you're disappointed, you're upset, you're sad, you're mad, who are you being in that moment? And this is why in everything that I teach, like your response, your emotional intelligence, your communication, they're such big, important parts of who we are as leaders, because the story doesn't just not get written when you don't like the bits. The bits are just in the story and you don't like them and you're ashamed of them and you wish they weren't there, but they're still there. You don't get to just say, I'm just going to omit this part. Like, it exists if you don't like it, even though you don't like it.
Can I ask a question? Do you mind? Like,
Of course.
interject?
Do it.
So inside of this, because I know that there's going to be so many women, and these are kinds of questions that have always come up for me. And you know, so you're trying to be this next level woman. You're trying to be her and embody her and do the things that she would do. But it seems so far. And how do we connect with her now? What do we need to do? Like, is it a thought? Is that thought going to then obviously generate a feeling and we take action from that place? But how do we get in that vibe of next level self?
This is the most infuriating question people ask me. And the reason it's infuriating is because I'll tell you why. I don't know how to answer it. And it's so rare that I don't have something to say. But this is the thing. If you don't do it, you're just not it. That's it. And the sad thing is 1% of the world is willing to do whatever it takes to be it. So when you're like, how do I do it? Just do it. Yeah, but how do I when I don't feel like it? Just do it. Yeah, but what about when it's hard? Do it. But what about when someone said, but do it. But what if I don't feel like it? Do it. What if I have a headache? Do it. What if, when, if, what if, with. If you're not going to be the one who does it when everyone won't, then you will not have what you desire that everyone else also desires. That's why there's so little. 11% of the coaches in the world hit 6 figures. You realize how small that is? 6 figures. Like I think everyone around me should be at least 6 figures or we have a problem. Like, I want everybody I know to be making 6 figures. In the industry, I want to change those numbers, but I can see why. Because that question, like, how do I do the things? There is no how. You just do it. Like, what do you mean? How do I, and there's people who'll say, like, how do you wake up in the morning? I just don't know. You just wake up. Yeah, but what about when you're tired? You wake up anyway. But what about when you like to snooze? You just wake up. Like, what do you mean? So you've got to have a standard for yourself that's like, I'm going to do this. When it's hard, when it makes no sense to me, when I'm stressed, when I'm afraid I'm going to fail. Because the truth is, our mental failure kicks in a lot sooner than the actual failure does in our life. This is a mind game first. So everything you think you might fail at, you failed in your mind first. You don't know that it would have failed. You thought it might. You feared it might. You've got to be one of those people who's willing to go find out what you're made of. You got to go into the flame. You got to face the fire. You got to feel the heat in your face and move anyway. Because the ones who make it do. And the ones who don't, they just don't. And there's no magical spell for doing. It's the action you're either taking or you're not. And yes, there's mindset work, you know, because your thoughts create your feelings and your feelings create your results. But the bottom line is you've got to decide you're going to be a no matter what kind of chick, or there's going to be a million reasons why not.
So Stephanie's saying here, I don't understand how people decide not to do the things when they want to so badly. So this comes up like for a lot of clients that I work with, you work with, you know, a lot of women as well, and you've seen this. So what is that pivotal piece? I mean, obviously there's fear that's going to be involved in it. And is it literally just fear is taking over and they're not able to just do it?
So this is why in all the things that I teach and all the things that I talk about, I suggest femme fatale first. Emotional intelligence before the money, before the branding, before the marketing, before the sales, before the planning. Who are you? And what has the world made you believe up until now that has you behave like this when this isn't what you want? You know, Stephanie came into my world last year in like April or something. She was willing to invest $1,000 or so a month, $1,500, $2,000 a month for 3 months to find out how to make $500 consistently a month online. So she understood that a $6,000 investment one time was worth $500 a month for the rest of her life. It was worth it. That's not what happened. She catapulted. Next thing I knew, she's making 10K a month, and she came in for another round. She's making 30 freaking K a month. And now she's like 50, 60, 70. Like, she's just skyrocketed. But she was willing to do something very unreasonable. She wanted to know how to make $500 a month consistently, and she was willing to just pay what it took to learn that. So often people are doing the math. Am I really capable of doing this? I've seen this girl, if you've listened to Stephanie's thing in here, like, I have seen her change at a speed that most of my clients don't. But I say something and she doesn't even question it. Honestly, she's just like, I'll try it. And if it doesn't work for me, we'll find something else. She is the most coachable human being I've ever met in my entire life. And I can understand that when she listens to people give her excuses, she's like, how did I attract this? Because this isn't who I am. Like, she is a no matter what person. You coach with her, you are coaching with someone with integrity, because she does what she says she's going to do. And she reaches out for the support all the time. She is a straight line. So for sure, it must be even more frustrating for her when someone doesn't follow through with what they said, because she's like, what do you mean? I do whatever it takes all the time. So I think it's even more infuriating for people who do no matter what to get that question, because it's like puzzling. I'm not sure I understand the question.
And can I, yeah, of course you can get a recording, Steph. But can I ask you, in terms of that, because I've heard you also say this before, we attract who we are. Or
Yes.
we attract who we were.
Yes.
So how does that actually work?
Okay.
In more, can you break it down a little?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite truths about the world. Manifestation means that you attract what frequency you're on. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. This is how in Exponential Wealth I teach collapsing time has a lot to do with this, around money, around results. But as a person, you're going to attract whoever is on the frequency that you are on. Now, it changes. Your frequency will change throughout weeks and months. So it's possible that you'll attract a client that's on a frequency that you were 3 months ago, and now there's a dissonance, that there's something that's not right anymore, but you attracted her before you changed. Then sometimes it's time, the relationship is over, you've escalated, you've grown, you've changed, this person hasn't quite yet at the same speed, and now there's a gap. But for the most part, you attract people in your life that are either the best parts of you, the worst parts of you, but they're a part of you somehow. And they're bringing something right to your attention. And then you've got to decide how carefully you're going to look and how much you're going to push back when that shows up, you know?
So if we're so this is showing up, and what if you have moved through this? And then they are showing up. Have we moved through it, or is it showing up for a reason and we
Always
really need to dig a little deep? We need to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, there's always something. Like, I'll have clients sometimes. This has happened to me before. There was a client, and she wanted to work with me, and I had a feeling inside, and I don't know why. Now, I'm a manifesting generator with a sacral authority, so it's very clear for me when there's an feeling inside, I should listen. And I had an feeling inside, but I loved this person a lot. Like, I loved her, and I knew I could help her a lot, but I kept getting this feeling inside of me. And I let it go. I still took the client on. And it was a lot of resistance, a lot of like, you know, she's often disappointed, like I didn't do enough or something. And I was like, this is so special, because I do so much for my clients. Like, I'm always above and beyond and treating them and taking care of them. And I was like, this person's always dissatisfied. What's up with that? And I was like frustrated with her a lot at times, until I realized I had an feeling that I didn't listen to. So sometimes the universe will send you a prove it person. Are you really going to be the person you say you're going to be? Are you really going to listen to your feelings? Are you going to lead with your knowing? And sometimes it's a prove it, and then you fail the test. So sometimes you attract who you are, sometimes you attract a situation in order to level up. So I think it's important to decipher. Sometimes you're going to attract a person as a prove it moment, not as this is me kind of thing.
Wow, that is so interesting. So in terms of really understanding ourselves on the different levels, you created Alpha Femme.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about Alpha Femme and what that really means for us women?
Yes, I love this brand more than anything in the world. This is a brand that carries me, that holds me to a higher standard. And I feel like when we find that brand, we know we found the thing, because there's so much that I've grown so much in my business, and I never really had a brand that embodied growth. Every brand I had was good for where I was right now. But this one, I see myself growing into and making even more magic with. And I can see myself creating and having space to become an even better version of myself, an even greater version of myself. So this is how I know this is the brand. But what Alpha Femme means, first of all, I'm French Canadian, so there's an homage to my French side, which I love. So Alpha Femme, which is a female in French, obviously. But what it really means is a woman who is willing to lead herself in the moments that matter in her life. Whether it's leading yourself to leave the relationship that doesn't serve you anymore, whether it's leading yourself to quit the job that's driving you mental, whether it's to lead yourself to invest in yourself in something that you don't have any evidence, hardcore proof is going to work, but you're going to lead yourself to do it. Leading yourself like when you want to press snooze on the alarm, you get up. Leading yourself like you made a promise, you follow through on it. So when you're able to lead yourself, you're the leader of your own life. And what I'm finding more and more is leadership has changed in the world. It used to be, the leader of the company is the one with the big fancy desk in the corner office that tells people what to do. And we're just not interested in that kind of leadership as much anymore. We're not interested in the self-appointed leader. We're interested in the person who's done what we want. So when you achieve the result that you're ultimately telling your clients you're going to help them achieve, they don't even need a million testimonials. You're the testimony. You're the truth that this works, because you led yourself. All they need to do is follow you and they will go where you've gotten. And that is the easiest way to become an online leader without having to spend multiple thousands of dollars a week on advertising. If you want to make a difference from the inside with internal marketing, warm leads, people sharing you, people being obsessed with what you're doing, people being in love with you, all you do is you honor your word, you do what you say you're going to do, and you show up that way. And it's going to be so fast how it changes. Now, what I've realized throughout my journey of being bankrupt, heartbroken, and depressed, to being engaged with the best man in the entire world, being just happy about life, and being a multimillionaire with a brand that generates multiple millions of dollars a year at this point, what I've realized that is the biggest shift is that there's 3 people in charge of that in my head, in my heart, in my way of being. I have 3 distinct people that operate inside of me. And I've coined them the boss, the badass, and the goddess, because these are the people inside that do the work. So the goddess is the most important one. And Alpha Femme is a triangle. So the goddess is like the base of the triangle. She's the emotional intelligence. And if you've ever seen Femme Fatale, the logo is inverted because she's the top. She's the most important, and everything funnels from that. So the goddess is the part within you that is emotionally intelligent. Why do you need to be emotionally intelligent? Because every single thing that's going to happen in your life is going to happen, and it's going to make you feel something. And depending on how you feel, you're then going to take an action, and that action exists forever in the history of your life. It always exists. It's part of your story after that. So and there's a saying, when emotions are high, intelligence is low, which means when you're emotional, you sometimes take actions that you regret. And then that's part of your story. You don't want it to be part of your story. So the more emotionally intelligent you are, the more in charge of the story you are. The more in charge of how you handle a situation you are. The more it's possible to have a disagreement with someone and then make amends. The more it's possible something breaks down and you rebuild it. The more it's possible to have an intelligent conversation with someone that could have been a disaster, and instead everything's okay. We burn bridges because we're too emotional and we don't know how to handle it. So this is such an incredible piece of it, because I've done this. I've burnt bridges. I've destroyed friendships over being heated in the moment. So when we learn to, so we do that. We don't do, and then you think about it after when the emotion's gone and you're like, no, I don't want to have been that person. You can never take it back. That's the thing. You can't take it back. It's in the story. It's etched in the story. So learning to say, from now on in my life, I'm responsible for who I am and how I show up. And I am going to be the kind of person who leaves an imprint of power and positivity on people, not one of pain or lack of intelligence or saying things I should never have said, you know? So this is the most important part. Also, I believe that having a relationship that works is one of the most important foundational pieces for a woman on fire. We need to be the goddess in our lives, and we need someone that takes care of us sometimes. And men love to take care of us when they feel good about themselves in a relationship. So understanding how to navigate the relationship that you're in, the romance, the love, the passion, the sex, the being completely free and open to express yourself fully and be the woman, the goddess, the muse, the magic on legs, the one that's just the most magnetizing, like can't get enough of you woman. That's what leads people the most. So that's why she's so important. Then there's the badass. She's the one who gets things done. So without the badass, your laundry, you're wearing your least favorite pair of knickers because you've got laundry to do and you haven't done it. And you're wearing the shirt that's got holes in it because you didn't wash your other clothes and you didn't go to the dry cleaners yet. And you've got sand in your bed because you were supposed to do the laundry yesterday and you forgot. Now there's sand because you thought you were going to wash it and you went to bed with your feet dirty and now there's sand in your bed. And then also there's nothing to eat and you're making a really weird sandwich with pickles and cheese and something because that's all there is in the fridge because you're supposed to go do the shopping and you didn't. And your car's going ding, 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 ding because you're supposed to put gas in the car, but you made it just barely home twice now, right? This is the badass's world. You're either in charge and on top of your stuff or you're not. Your car's a mess, your room's a mess, your house is a mess, your kitchen's a mess. You're supposed to do blah, blah, blah. You didn't. You're supposed to do a live. You were supposed to make a post. You were supposed to. You failed your 365-day Facebook Live challenge. You said you would, but then you didn't. You were supposed to launch your group, but then things came up and then you didn't. You were supposed to call your best friend, then you forgot. You were supposed to go for lunch and then you forgot. That's the badass. And unfortunately, this part is so important because people relate to us based on how much they believe our word based on who the badass is in our life. With all the best intentions in the world, if you don't show up for people, they start to have an image of who you are, and it's very hard for them to see you as a leader when you're constantly not showing up the way you said you would. So my grandma used to say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like, that's not enough. Good intentions, yeah, so what? So you have to have discipline, integrity, and follow through. That's the land of the badass. If you're the kind of person who makes plans and doesn't do them, sits down to make 10,000 lists, and then makes a list about making a list, and then by the time you've started the list has changed, then you got to make another list, your badass is out of power, right? And the last part is the boss. And the boss is the one who gets paid. The boss is the one that goes and does the work. The boss is the one that leads the programs. The boss is the one that gets on the coaching calls or does the marketing, like goes up to people, speaks to people. The ones that makes the sale, the one that shows up on your Facebook Live when you're selling, that's the boss. And learning how to attract money and to not be in your head about money or push it back or mix up debt and earning and get all mixed up with your money vibes. So these are the three important parts of the identity. And together, when you lead with the money generating, integrity driven, heart centered, and like woman that you are, you can have all the things. There's nothing you can't do with those three identities.
I love it.
Yay!
For them to act in alignment, the three identities, do they do that? Do they operate in full alignment, or is one kind of always leading? Like, I mean, as you say, like the goddess is always, she's that base piece. She's the one who's driving it because we feel in everything that we do.
Yes.
But so do they kind of take over one another? One will lead for a bit, but the goddess will always be there. Maybe the boss will step in. The goddess, she's like, the boss will check in with the goddess. Like, is that how it kind of works? For those that,
Yeah, the goddess is the leading energy always because she's like emotional intelligence in any life situation is necessary. You just have to have it. But then the leading identity will depend on what you're going through. And when you put the wrong identity in the wrong place, it backfires. Like you go put the badass or the boss in your relationship and your husband's like, hey, no, it doesn't work. You try to go put your goddess and your boss. Next thing you know, you're like, I'm going to cut the price. This person really deserves it. And I should really give them a discount or let them in for free because they're so nice and they're pretty and I should have them for free in my program. And it's like, goddess, get out of here. This is not your realm. Go play and frolic and give someone a flower. This is not your zone. Get out, you know? So you've got to have, like, when you're creating your day and you're in goddess mode, you can't be having a manicure and at the same time be on the phone trying to fix something. All of a sudden your manicure becomes a badass thing to do. Now you're multitasking. You're not in goddess mode anymore. You can't be, you know, trying to sell something or delivering a coaching call while simultaneously trying to tend to your kids in goddess mode. One thing will always be pulled to the other. So how you create space is like, when do I need my badass to be in charge? Which means I need to sit and I need to plan all my copy. I need to sit and I need to be focused on this exact thing. Well, get a babysitter, create a space that feels badass to you. Go rent an office somewhere, go set yourself up in a badass zone, sit down. You're going to hammer out content like you've never seen. But if your babies are crying and they need food and they need all this and you have this huge list of badass things to accomplish, I guarantee it's not going to look the way you planned it. Because with goddess energy involved, it's going to be like, I need to sit with my baby. I need to go do this. I need to read a story. Let's go for a walk. Let's go. And then you're in and out of the energy. But when you focus the energy, you get things done at hyper speed. This is another way you collapse time in your business. You create space for the identity to be within itself as you do the things that need to be done by that specific identity. You block out everything else.
Love it. For the new entrepreneurs who are watching, what kind of words of guidance would you offer to them, you know, to really get going and to really start to make the waves, to make the impact, to generate the income? Like, what would you say to them?
I would say that life is going to throw you curveballs if you mean business around this. If you really want big, if you want to make, you know, $500 a week, you're going to get less curveballs. I guarantee you that. If you want to make $500 a month, you're going to get less curveballs. If you decide, like, I want to be the next Gabby Bernstein, watch out. What it takes to be this kind of leader in your life, I don't know that you understand what that even means yet. So if you really want that, then you're going to learn to become, you've got to learn to become the eye of the storm in your life. And that starts with tiny little things. Do you let yourself get all out of sorts when your partner doesn't agree with you? You get frustrated with your kids when they won't go to bed? Do you get in little fights with your mother-in-law? Do you get out of sorts for little things? Because those things are the first level things. How are you going to handle it when a client's going to stop paying you for something they gave a commitment to? How are you going to handle it when people say bad things about you after you've given them your absolute best? How are you going to handle it when people just decide they don't like you, even though they've never even been in your energy before? These are things that happen down the line that if you haven't figured how to really own your power before they happen, those things will take you out of the game. So you've got to start embodying poise, power, self-awareness, emotional intelligence right now. This is like your number one thing. When you strengthen you, then you're capable of more. When you are certain that you're not going to go anywhere, you're not going to quit, and you know that with an unshakable truth and you can prove it to the universe and the people around you, you're going to start having a bigger audience. Because how unfair would it be for you to just see if you want to do this and bring a whole bunch of people who are spending their time, their money, to pay you to figure out whether or not you mean business? That's not going to happen. You need to be sure first. So just remember in your journey that this is you creating a path between you and your goal. And that in order for people to give you their time, their money, their trust, these are people's lives you've got in your hands. Whatever company you're trying to build in the world, even if it's not coaching related, these are people that you're holding in your hands that you're trying to bring to the next level. Way before the universe just gifts you thousands of people to potentially drop, if you decide to change your mind, it's going to make sure that you are certain about what you're doing. So don't see tests as failures. Never see a test as a failure. See a test as a test. See it for what it is. Learn to have an objective mind around the things that happen in your world, even though they hurt. There's a pessimistic way to look at it. There's the everything's perfect, nothing matters way of seeing it. But there's also the objective way, like, okay, what if this is a test? Then how do I respond? If you're able to stay level-headed and lead with your heart and do things the way you want to remember them and be in it for the long run, not because you need to make $2,000 by next month or this isn't worth it, but because you want to make limitless wealth over a lifetime, limitless impact over a lifetime, that this is your journey for the rest of your life, that you are certain this is your mission, then you just go and you don't stop. And everything that shows up for you is a learning lesson. You breathe through it. You learn to process your feelings. You get back on the horse. There is no other way. You just do it, learn as fast as you can, and get back on the horse. That's the way.
It's so powerful to hear that. And I think that, at every level, like, we really do need to lean into that. So I imagine at your level and at, let's say Steph's level, this comes up all the time still, right?
Oh yeah. And it's going to, because there's always a next level. Like, even so, some of my clients that are currently that did the She Wave. So Ellie is another one of my clients that's absolutely amazing. She wanted to step in, and you've heard Ellie's story with the Luminosas. Like, she's just started stepping into a level that I remember the fear of, and she blows my mind with the way she's handling it. Like, she's so next level. If I could have handled the fear at her level, the way she's handling the fear, I would probably be a billionaire right now. Like, she's on track for something so brilliant. The fear is real. It's as real as Steph's fear, and it's as real as my fear, because it's the same level. It's the same thing. It's the same feeling inside. You don't just all of a sudden open a new level of fear available when you grow. It's just what scares you is different. So whether you're trying to scale to 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, 100K, 200K, 300K a month, like the month that I made $300,000, I was like terrified of it. Terrified of it. But if you were to ask me what was more scary, trying to hit 300,000, trying to hit 100,000, trying to hit 10,000, the scariest one was trying to hit 10,000. That's the one I didn't think I could do. When I got to making 100,000, it felt like it was the next logical progression. 300,000 felt like the next logical progression. You're going to see your threshold for pain. This is it. It doesn't get more painful than this. It's just that this pain never goes away. Once you've handled this fear, a new fear comes in. But that's the best thing. That's what we want to do. We want to move through the fears fast. When you try to protect your fear, like, this is a fear I can handle. Let me just juggle in the fear of this realm of fear. This one feels good. I'm just going to stay here with this fear, because at least I know I can survive here. And although it's not pleasant, I know that it's fine. And I'm afraid of what fear feels like at the next level. Don't worry about that. It's not more fear. It's just a different fear that you don't know yet. It's just the fear of what you don't know versus the fear of what you do know. But there is no more fear. Whoa, was that the storm behind you? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that I'm talking about fear and it's like thunder. But yeah, the fear doesn't get bigger. We all have the same tolerance for fear and pain in our body. It's just that it's fear about something else. It's the mind that gets attacked more than the feeling. The fear tolerance is the same. It's the mind. What you believe you can handle. That's what has us crap out way before the actual pain hits.
So good. Ellie's just saying, yes, bring on the fears so we can move through them. We just talked about this.
Yes, Ellie's next level. Honestly, if you're not part of her Luminosa thing, she's so good. This woman just speaks magic. She's so wonderful. So I love her. I love you.
She is very wonderful. And I think there are a lot of women who are now over in her Facebook community from here.
Good.
Does anybody have any questions for Melanie? If you do, pop them down. If there was one thing that you could leave the women here with today, what would that be?
So if it's okay with you, if there is something that I'm going to share, I would really love to share it that way, because I still don't feel 100% myself looking at the camera there while I'm there. It feels strange. So if you have anything else you want us to do together, and then I'll flip myself.
We can't turn it.
Even because if you go, I'm gone?
Yeah, and if we turn it now that it started, it won't work. But where you're looking right now is actually right in the camera.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm absolutely
okay, I'm going to do my best. Then.
I've got it on my laptop, so you're looking direct in the camera, so go.
Okay. All right, perfect. So I think, this is actually a great learning curve for me as well, to be honest, and I think it's so fitting for what I wanted to say to you today, because every single thing that I've accomplished in my life, I've done by facing a fear. everything. It's always been the fear. That's always been the thing to conquer. Because at the very when you look at the source of what you desire in your life, there's nothing scary about having it. It's such a beautiful thing what you want. And what I want is such a beautiful thing. But then it's the pain of what if I don't get it? What if I stumble while I'm trying to get it? What if I fall? What if I look silly? What if I think I can do it and I can't? What if I don't have the support I need on my way to getting it? What if, what if, what if, what if? And what I've found is that what if is a very interesting combination of words, because the only difference between fear and excitement is what if this works versus what if this doesn't. You know, even in my head right now, it's like, what if me speaking with the camera, this side is not the same and it's not as impactful because it can't look the way that I normally do. But then what if it's fine? And then in this one thing, I realize that I can speak on a Facebook Live no matter which way the camera's turning. What if I actually have this other sense of freedom that no matter how the camera's turned, I can still deliver my message? So sometimes you've got to go face what happens so that you can go find out what's on the other side of your fear. In our mind, it's always worse than what it is in reality. It really honestly is. People come back from pain that we're like, how? How did you ever come back from that? If that happened to me, I would never survive. How how did you make it through that? I could never. That if that happened to me, I would die. We cannot conceive that level of pain, yet people survive pain that I can't even comprehend. So because we know this to be true, and when I ask my clients, and if I ask you now to just think for 1 second, has there been a time in your life where you've been so afraid of something bad happening and then it happened, and then now you're like, that was one of the most transformative things of my entire life? Like, have you ever been through something like that that felt like hell while you were in it, and on the other side of it you were like, if I did not have that, I would not be who I am right now? Mm-hmm. And could you find more than one? And could you find more than two? And actually, could you even find one that that's not the case? When you start to look at your pain and your failure like that, you start to realize, why the heck am I forcing or trying to push away this next level of fear when every single pain I've ever felt in my life has brought me more of me? It's just the moment. And it always makes me laugh because people don't want to have pain. You know, they're like, I don't want to go through pain. But then again, they'll sit through a horror movie, or they'll watch P.S. I Love You or The Notebook for fun. Your face looks like a puffer fish for 3 days after a movie like that. You go through an entire box of Kleenex, but it's worth it because you know how long the sadness is going to last. You know how long the pain is going to last. So it's not even pain that we avoid. It's not even sadness that we avoid. It's the not knowing how long the pain and sadness is going to last for. That's what we're afraid of. What if I never bounce back? What if it's like this forever? What if, what if, what if? What if you're strong enough? What if this storm makes you everything you asked to be? What if the moment you realize you can handle that pain, you become unstoppable? What if the day you face the thing you fear the most and survive, you become invincible? What if the thing you're most afraid of going through is the thing you change the world with when it happens? What if you look at pain in your life as an opportunity to strengthen your heart? Because your heart is a muscle. It doesn't break, it tears. And any muscle on your body that tears builds back stronger. That's why we go and work out. That's how it works. You rip your heart open so that you can build it back stronger. Does it feel good? No, it also doesn't feel good to limp after a workout. When your legs are on fire because you've done too many calf muscles or squats or something. It doesn't feel good. That fire doesn't feel good, but it's what creates the muscle. What if you believe that every pain is strengthening your heart so that you can become the most strong-hearted woman that you know, capable of holding space for everyone's imperfections, that people don't need to be perfect around you for you to be okay, that people don't need to walk in a certain space for you to survive, that you're going to be okay, that you do not have to have things be perfect in your world, that you can handle a storm, that even more than that, when there's a storm around you, you can stand firm in the middle and be the eye of the storm. So for me, in my life, what I realized early is that I desire the pleasure and I desire the joy. And I want that side of the spectrum. I want the intensity, the magic. I want it all. And the payoff for that, the flip side of that, is in order to get the highest of the highs in the spectrum, I've got to be understanding of the lows of the spectrum. This is polarization. It is something you cannot avoid. Polarity means opposite sides of the spectrum maximized at full capacity. You are at the top of your joy, you can handle the bottom of your pain. So what if you just become stronger? And the pain at the bottom doesn't take you out of the game. It just strengthens you. Then you can have all the most incredible things in the world, and you can handle it when something difficult comes, instead of pacifying your life and numbing it so you're playing only in the spectrum you can handle. That's a waste of a life, in my opinion. If you want to have the greatness, you've got to handle the pain. So the question just becomes, how much pain am I willing to tolerate in order to have everything I've ever wanted? And for me, I'm willing to get whatever it takes, because I know I'll learn from all of it. It'll be part of my story. And while I'm going through it, I'll ask myself, how do I want to tell the story? And in hindsight, when I tell the world what I've been through, you'll freaking love it. And so will I. And that's why I know everything is worth it, always. So go past your fears, face them. They are your access to all the greatness you desire, is your ability to walk through fear like a badass. That's my message.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was so amazing.
Yay.
Guys, thank you so much for being here with Melanie and I. We really appreciate it. We know that this has been so impactful for you. Don't forget, take a screenshot, tag us over on Instagram, tell us what your biggest takeaway was from today. You can win at the end of the summit one of Melanie's matte black water bottles,
Yeah.
Alpha Femme water bottles, and also the bracelet with the Swarovski crystal.
This is a millionaire bracelet, by the way. There's an amazing story about that bracelet, and they're infused with millionaire vibes. So if you win it, you have millions of dollars on your wrist. That's the intention. And the water bottle is all about discipline and integrity and follow through. So as you drink your water consumption you're supposed to for the day, you're strengthening your word and your confidence. They both have extraordinary meanings. They will make you better people.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So don't forget then, tag us, and thank you again. And we will see you guys tomorrow for day number 8. Bye.
Bye.